The Obama 2012 machine is sending the following video around to bolster support for Obama's re-election. Thought I'd take a few minutes here and share some responses I have to what Mr. Obama is saying in this video, as well as some comments for his machine.
I do think that the steps that I talked about to deal with job growth and economic growth right now are vitally important to deficit reduction. Just as deficit reduction is important to grow the economy and to create jobs, well, creating jobs and growing the economy also helps reduce the deficit. If we just increase the growth rate by 1 percentage point, that would drastically bring down the long-term projection.
This is exactly why job creation needs to be the primary goal of any progressive administration. Now, Mr. Obama was hired to be President of the United States as the progressive leadership of the United States of America. And thus far we've heard words of hope and change, but this administration has gotten sucked into the GOP black hole of debt reduction. Now, Mr. Obama is right. Jobs need to be created, and the job creation will bring the debt down. Then once the nation is working again, you can discuss cutting fat from the budget. And the fat that needs cutting the most starts with ending the wars of occupation and bringing the troops home.
Of the deficit. Because people are paying more into the coffers and fewer people are drawing unemployment insurance. It makes a huge difference. And this may be sort of a good place to wrap up. You know, every day I get letters from folks all around the country who show incredible.
Maybe this is a good place to wrap up the current administration. The jobs are not being created. We elected, funded, argued for a leader who was, and still is, incredibly articulate and intelligent. From 2009 to today, we got healthcare reform, and that wasn't needed yet. We got yet another war in Libya that the neoliberals are drooling over. We got an extension to the Patriot Act along with police oppression of dissidents, including the beating by the El Centro police of my friend Steve Benavides in Dallas. We were called retards by Mr. Emanuel for objecting to the stench of the healthcare bill. And we got an extension to the pittance of unemployment insurance as the top earners once again got a free ride.
Incredible determination, but they are having a very, very tough time. They're losing their homes. Some have lost their businesses. Some have lost work and have not been able to find jobs for months, maybe a year and a half. And they feel some desperation. And some folks who are working just are having.
This administration brags about the creation of 2.5 million jobs. And that's good for the 2.5 million people who are working. And yet, 25% of the U.S. workforce is either unemployed or underemployed right now.
Time paying the bills because they haven't seen their wages or incomes go up in 10 years. And the costs of everything else have gone up. And Every day that weighs on me. Every minute of every day that weighs on me. Because I ran for president precisely to make sure that we righted this ship and we start once again creating a situation where middle-class families...
What's not being addressed is the cost of human suffering and the emotional or psychological damage that is being caused by the current version of capitalism. People are homeless. Millions of people are homeless. There are 8,000 homeless veterans in LA alone. And in that location, the Veterans Administration is blithely ignoring them. Families are being ripped apart. Men are sleeping in doorways or in tents in parks when they aren't being attacked by the police. Women sleep in cars. The lucky ones might make it into a shelter before nightfall. Predators still do lurk in the shadows of the street lamps.
People who aspire to be in the middle class, if they're working hard, then they're living a better life. Now, these structural changes in our economy that have been going on for a decade, in some cases longer, they're not going to be solved overnight. But we know what to do. We know that if we are educating our kids well, then they're going to be more competitive. We know that if we...
Income has not gone up in the last 10 years. When adjusted for inflation, even the best, and this was during the Bush years, income went up a whopping 1%. That is 1 penny on the dollar. And it's good he's noticed, I'll grant him that. But now, on the streets, you can always find a smartass who is happy to heap scorn on the person who has gotten a degree and is working a survival job. Now, this did happen in the tech industry. A level 1 tech support job paid $25 an hour in 2000. Now, today, in 2011, the same job pays $15 an hour. And the companies act like they're doing you a favor by paying you that much. Recently, Apple told its employees that it was a privilege to work for Apple, that it was an experience to work for Apple, as they cut staff and increased the workload.
Are investing in things like infrastructure. It pays off. I was in Alcoa in Iowa, one of our most successful companies. They took a big hit during the recession, but they still invested $90 million in new equipment in a plant that makes airplane wings and parts for automobiles, and they've bounced back. They've hired back all their people and are increasing market share because they made those investments. Well, just like a company like Alcoa.
I have to pause here and ask Mr. Obama a question. What has competition to do with anything? On January 8th, I was competitive. I was working for $14 an hour. That is an $11 an hour cut from what I was making in 2000. On January 10th, I was unemployed. The only competition seems to be a race towards the bottom. That was the case in 2008 as well, and is still the case today. So again, the question is asked, what has competition to do with anything, Mr. President?
We've got to make some investments. We know that we've got to get control of our deficit. There are some things that aren't going to solve all our problems, but can make progress right now. And the question is whether or not Democrats and Republicans are willing to put aside the expedience of short-term politics in order to get it done. And these folks are counting on us. They are...
question. Why are you not investing in the people of the United States? Why do you heap the burden on the people rather than the multinational firms and those who own them? Why is the government not hiring qualified people to work on the projects you mentioned? Why are we in gridlock? Why are you allowing the few to rule over the many? From 2009 to 2011, is this the best you can do?
I desperately want to believe that their leadership is thinking about them and not playing games. And I think that if all the leadership here in Washington has the faces and the stories of those families in mind, then we will solve this debt limit issue. We will put in place steps like a payroll tax.
I am sorry. We don't want the GOP's tough love. We don't need the mythical fiscal responsibility of the Republicans. We do need progressive leadership that is going to fight for the very same people that fought for you, Mr. President, back in 2008.
Infrastructure development. We'll continue to fund education. We'll hold true to our commitment to our seniors. These are solvable problems, but it does require us just getting out of the short-term and frankly selfish approach that sometimes politics breeds. We've got to think a bit long-term. All right? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for your time. This is Cliff Potts. As always, may your God go with you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.